to today's race. This is one of the last of the season now, as we're all eagerly awaiting the next update, which is going to start bringing these cars much closer to their real-life counterparts. But for today's race around the beautiful Spa-Francorchamps, we're going to enjoy our GTPs for one last time. And we're starting from the back, having not qualified for this one, and we're off to a smoky start. That BMW nearly losing it into La Source, but does very well to collect himself up and not get caught up by anyone else. Now we're all going to race down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time, taking it flat out on these cold tyres, which is going to be one of the last few times you'll be able to do this before the tyre update. A lot of swerving ahead of us as they're trying to breathe some heat into those tyres before we hit Le Combe. And now everyone's really bunching up, and we have our first incidents with cars off to the left hand side and someone getting tagged behind us. And now we have a Cadillac rejoining, so I'm going to try and hold it tight to the right hand side. He's still there alongside us as we're coming downhill towards Bruxelles. I really try and hold the car tight, which is difficult on these cold tyres. It's working so far, but now I'm on the outside and there's a bit of contact between us. I'm just now able to squeeze ahead of him into Pouon, try and hold some speed. It's just too much on these cold tyres and we go exceedingly wide and collect a slowdown. Just going to try and serve this now so it's not going to cause too much pain for me, so we're going to lose some positions here with this Cadillac being the last one around our outside. We're still up 3 positions considering everything that has happened so far on this opening lap. Hopefully things will settle down as the race continues. We still have 15 minutes and at least 11 laps around here. But as we're coming through Blanchimont and towards the chicane, there's going to be plenty more opportunities for incidents, so we're going to see how this will develop ahead of us. We can see 2 groups of cars that are going too wide ahead of us. It looks like everyone has made it through successfully, which is quite an achievement considering how this has been going all week for IMSA and the Prototype Challenge for me.
13th place.
But as we come down into La Source for the second time, we've got that same BMW. Looks like his luck has finally run out as he's turned sideways in front of us, but we're able to avoid him. So having survived lap 1, we can have a look at what happened there going into Le Combe. We have P2 on the outside in that beige Ferrari who gets tagged by P3 in the red. Thankfully he doesn't take any damage, but that's really set him back. The Acura behind us, this is what happened to them. The black BMW there just completely misses his braking point, and this poor Acura driver has to suffer the consequences of their mistake, ending his race. But we survive and rejoin now onto lap 2. Still chasing the pack of cars ahead of us. I just want to try and stay in touch and avoid any potential incidents that might happen whilst they're so bunched up. You can see the Acura ahead goes wide and the Cadillac jumps on the opportunity to go around his outside. So they are still there, the Acura on the inside now into Bruxelles. And we have 2 cars off to our left hand side. That is P2 and P3, and they've both gone off in a big way there. We'll have a quick look as we keep pushing on in the meantime. And you can see just how aggressive some of these drivers are being. The Cadillac in P3 putting his nose there, perhaps where it should not have been. And the Ferrari in P2, though did cause the incident earlier, did not deserve that kind of move. But back to our race now as we're coming through Blanchimont towards the final chicane. I'm just going to be watching the cars ahead for anyone that might outbrake themselves. And Thomas has done exactly that. As you can see, he nearly goes into the back of the Cadillac. I'm going to quickly set myself up to go around his outside here, leaving him the space, and then using the launch of the all-wheel drive system to get ahead of him there. It's done very nicely for us and put us up now into P9. And we'll see just how close that was between myself and Thomas, because even with the mistake of them going deep there, it was still very difficult to set up and make that move around the outside. But we both did very well to leave each other's space. And unfortunately for Tomas, that was going to cost him another position as we see that yellow Porsche get ahead of him coming into La Source. Now on to lap 3. We are still just staying in touch with the group ahead of us. They are really bunched up, but we are now joined by Francisco behind us in that yellow Porsche, who is still under pressure from Tomas. as we're coming down the hill, I'm just really watching the cars ahead more than really what's going on in the mirror, because any mistake from them and being so bunched up could be catastrophic. Though potentially it could benefit us, as they are really slowing each other up, so I have to be ready for any opportunity that will present itself. And now with the tyres being up to temperature, these cars are really coming alive. Though on this fixed setup there is a good deal of understeer, as you can see just how much I'm off power through this chicane. And you can see how much that Francisco closed up behind us there. The Porsche was really strong on this fixed setup, being very pointy in the nose, but the Ferrari was still by far the fastest of the GTPs. As we're going to see here, we have both the slipstream of Alexander in front, who is also getting the slipstream of the car in front of him, but we are still closing up right behind him here towards the final chicane. I am going to have a look down that inside just to see if I can throw him off. But we now have Francisco coming from way far back now, really managing his brakes. And there is now contact which punts us wide there. We get a massive hip check. And now we're side by side with Tomas. I'm just going to try and hold the inside into La Source, hoping I can try and get a better exit, though Tomas does exceptionally well there around the outside. And he's still very much ahead of us here. I'm going to try and think and let him go into a Rouge. There's a little bit of contact from us, and that does result in a 4X, annoyingly. I'm now going to use that slipstream and the speed of the Ferrari to get ahead as we're coming onto the Kemmel straight. And Tomas does slip in back behind us here as we're coming into Le Combe, but now he makes a big send down our inside here. We've just got to try and hold it as we have a car spun around in front of us, thankfully out of the way. Now I'm really feeling the pressure though of Tomas, so I'm going to defend into the inside and to Bruxelles. And again, he's trying to hold it around the outside. I do go wide here and tap him just the same, but thankfully it's nothing too serious between us. However, he's still right beneath my rear wing here as we're coming down towards Pouhon, so I need to nail this corner in order to try and get ahead of him, though there is now contact as he goes into the back of me, and again for a second time, but this time he goes around and looks like he got tapped by another car there as well. I certainly was still pushing and not going slower than usual, so he was very much pushing too hard there to go into the back of me. We'll quickly have a look here. This was Francesco making the move. He did exceptional there under the braking, though he went too deep, and you can see here under slow motion that he overcorrected for the second part of the chicane, which sent him into the side of us. Not a malicious mistake, but still that could have been better, I felt. Now with Tomas, he did make some exceptional moves himself, trying to get down the inside and unsettle me. As you can see there, coming through Le Combe, he did well on the inside and did leave us space. And then again through the outside of Bruxelles, this was on me for going wide into him there, though I did not go too hard on him. That seemed to upset him, because you can see just how much he closes up behind us here, even though he knows that the Ferrari is weaker through this section. And he can just get on the power too much and goes into the back of us, which upsets the balance of the car. Thankfully he doesn't get hit too hard there, though on the next lap his luck was going to run out. As we can see here, this was the car that was P2 originally in the race. Gets too aggressive around the outside, and there is a big contact between them, which results in a big incident there, sending the Ferrari end over end on the Kemmel straight. And we can see just how aggressive again some of these racers were being. But we continued for a few laps, just getting our head down after everything that had happened, and we managed to catch back up to Alex from earlier. So once again, I'm going to start putting pressure onto him now as we're entering the final stages of this race, with only a few laps remaining. And we have been joined by Simon behind us in another Porsche. He's just been patiently biding his time throughout the course of this race, avoiding the incidents like I had hoped to. However, for now he's still just hanging back, which is going to let me try and focus on catching up to Alexander, as I'm struggling on this section of Spa, especially through Pouhon. The Ferrari's understeer really hurting here, and the Acura is still being very strong even after the balance changes iRacing made to it.
faster than us into.
However, it looks like Alexander is feeling that pressure as he's overdriving the car. I am really trying to push and catch up to him, which is going to cost me here as we go very wide. I just really want to get up behind him here to use that slipstream. So I want to try and set up a move into the chicane here using the power of the Ferrari like I tried to a couple laps earlier. Getting closer now through Blanchimont as I'm right beneath him. He's going to defend to the inside. I'm going to set up through the outside, but I don't really see it happening. So I'm now going to go to the inside here as he went deep and lost it on the exit. And once more, that all-wheel drive system of the Ferrari gets us another position there on track. But it's not over yet. As you can see, he closes up behind us quite close there through La Source. However, we managed to fend that off and we got a good exit now coming down towards Rouge. And Alex is now feeling the pressure from behind as Simon starts catching up to him. That power in the Porsche is not to be underestimated. As you can see in the top right there, he's really gaining now. It's given me a good opportunity to breathe as Simon now really looks to the inside, taking a very tight line. However, we have an incident in front of us with a car off to the right, and we now are catching up quickly to this Cadillac who was involved. He gets very squirrely under the gravel, so I just about avoid him and get to the inside. And now Simon is struggling to try and get past him. He had a little bit of a lockup. That Cadillac peels off to the inside there, having taken damage from that incident. And as the dust settles, we now find ourselves in P6 with clear road ahead of us to try and catch up to Francisco. However, unfortunately, we just simply ran out of time here. We did manage to gain a little bit onto him, especially as he started fighting, but we just didn't have the time left in the race in order to try and make anything happen. But that is still a P6 finish for us. That's fantastic considering everything that happened. We're going to gain IR, though lose SR due to those incidents, but overall I was still really pleased with that. And I hope you're all pleased as well with today's race, as it has been really difficult trying to get a good one together this week through IMSA and the Prototype Challenge. But this one was quite exceptional, so I hope you have all enjoyed it. So please leave a like and subscribe if you did, as that really helps me on the channel, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the new season.